knocked out the rear shock mounts. It was a pretty quick job, and I figured you guys had already seen me doing enough paper templates, and so that's all done. And today is the big day where we're gonna mate the 3 frame sections together. So what I'm doing right now is getting the engine dropped back in the front cradle and get it connected to the torque tube, and then we'll get everything lined up, and hopefully we'll make 4 basically what I'm calling down bars. They're going to drop down from the subframe frames and connect to the floor frame piece. It's probably just going to be a lot of time-lapse video. So let's get started. Alright, some of you may be wondering why I have all my tube bending stuff stacked on the differential, and the reason for that is essentially to compensate for a person being in the vehicle, and also to give the springs enough compression to get the subframe in the correct position that it needs to be in. And using just about every die I had, I was able to do that. Now, one of the biggest obstacles for today is going to be trimming the quarter panels to clear the control arms, and I really want to try and push the body as far forward as we can, like I had done in the past. So what I think we're going to have to do here is raise it up a little bit, move the body forward on the lift, and then start lowering it back down and kind of just cutting into whatever area it interferes with. It's not really what I wanted to do, but it's what we're going to have to do. All right, well, we're getting pretty close to what's going to be actual ride height, and our limiting factor at this point is not going to be the quarter panel here, but more so the upper control arm mount. I think we'll be able to drop it down maybe another inch at most if we're lucky, and so we're going to go ahead and trim the quarter panel just a bit more and see if we can't at least get the frame rail even with the sheet metal right here. Not quite as low as I was hoping it would go, but I spent the better part of yesterday just recording footage of me connecting the frame sections together, and I decided this morning that I'm gonna try and start the video off by explaining what's going on up here, even if it's not ideal, the way that I'm going about connecting these three pieces together, and showing you in a little bit more detail what I got going on. Now, the back section was pretty straightforward. The floor frame section was 29.5 inches wide, and the rear subframe frame section was 30 inches wide. So all I had to really do was cut two pieces of 2x4 tubing at the same length with the same angles in order to connect the floor piece with the rear subframe piece. And the reason why I'm thinking that it's going to work out fairly close is that when I assembled these three pieces of frame section, I made three perfect squares, or actually, well, two of them are semi-squares, one of them's a rectangle, but they all had the same exact length of tubing, spaced exactly the same. That's why I welded in the support bars that aren't going to be permanent. It's just to keep everything perfectly square. And so I got the rear subframe connected to the frame section, and I've been working today and some of last night on connecting the front frame section, which is a little bit more complicated because, like I said, the rectangular floor frame section is 29.5 inches wide, and the front frame section is, I don't remember exactly how wide. I want to say something like maybe 31 or 32 inches, but it's substantially wider, to the point that when I shoot the frame section up, it sits entirely inside of this frame section by about 1 inch, and I'll show you what I mean. So you can see I've got about 1 inch spacing right here. It's actually exactly 1 inch. And my plan so far has been, I didn't really waste my time trying to cut two of the same angles on this. I found what the angle was going up to the frame section, and then notched it and connected it in this fashion on both sides, and ran it up, cut this flat, as you could see, took the piece I lopped off of there, connected it to the bottom side there. And what I'm gonna do is connect this all together with plating, and I'm also gonna run an angle probably from like here to here, and the same angle along this side, just to give us some clearance for the steering shaft, and to try and make it look a little bit cooler than just a big rectangular piece of steel sitting there. So this is where I'm at so far. Let's see, I've got my angles all nice and beveled, almost ready to weld, but got quite a bit of work to do still before I do weld them. And so far all my measurements are showing that everything is fairly square and we're in good shape. So I'm gonna keep plugging away at this. I've got the other side I'm working on right now, and I'll just run some time lapse. All right, so the driver's side is done enough to move on to the passenger side. I still have to plate both the top and the bottom, but this is essentially what I ended up with. The tubing is 2x4, as you know, and this is 4x3. So once we get it plated, it should be good to go. I'm thinking I'll probably do separate plates here and here just to add an extra bit of stability. I don't know if that's gonna work out the way I'm thinking it will, but worth a shot. Anyways, that's what it looks like, and this is what it looked like. So let's get to work on cutting all this down and making it look like the driver's side. Passenger side's not done, but it's at the same point as the driver's side. And now what I want to do is get the body off of this thing, and it's gonna be kind of challenging because I set the frame rails on top of a piece of sheet metal that curves underneath them off of the body at the front of the cowl here. And what my plan is to jack the car up, or the chassis up on one side far enough that it isn't as wide as it is sitting flat, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of maneuver it out of position in that way. So let's see what happens. Alright, well, I managed to get the body off, and then I went ahead and put it back on, and I think I'm going to call it a day. Pretty happy with the progress. So I'll catch you guys next time when we finalize the frame, probably.